Did Ryan Poles do it again? Did the Chicago Bears GM find another hidden gem? We'll talk about said player here in just a moment. But listen, we are trying to get more new subscribers this year in the month of August than we did last year. Last year we picked up 2,612. This year we're at 1,132 right now. So we're close to on pace to be in the ballpark there, but it's a little dicey as we enter midway part of the month. If you want to beat our number from last year, which, hey, if we do that, we're closer to 100,000 subs. Shout out to all of you. That would be fantastic. We're going to continue to publish daily Bears content, including this show coming up right now. Let's talk Ian Wheeler. I'm Harrison Graham. This is Bears Now. The Bears' undrafted free agent running back is starting to gain some national attention, or at least larger attention within the Chicago Bears football team among the fan base. He was featured on Hard Knocks last night. How about this? He deferred medical school because he's trying to pursue this NFL dream. Said he wants to be a psychiatrist one day. That's pretty cool. But we kind of heard some whispers out of practice that he had been looking pretty good. And that translated to the game, right? He got 5 carries, rushed for 43 yards against Buffalo, 2 touchdowns. I think all of that work in the fourth quarter. So again, against mostly deep backups. So it does factor in who he's going up against. But I think you have to look beyond the box score sometimes. And I looked at a guy who took advantage of his reps, ran hard, and looked like a player that belonged, at least on a 90-man roster, that's for sure. You know, sometimes you bring in these undrafted free agents and you cut them after 3 days because you're like, they just can't play. Like, they got no shot. This kid absolutely has a chance, and when you look at his background, it's kind of been an interesting kind of rise because he's from Houston, Texas, which is, I don't know, top 5, 10 cities in America that produces big-time college football talent. Went to St. Thomas, a notable high school down there. 0 Division I offers, despite having good size and speed. So he goes to Howard, an HBCU, gets a pre-med degree, like I mentioned, is going to go to medical school eventually, it sounds like, and goes undrafted, but ends up landing with the Chicago Bears here. So it's been kind of weird. It's been windy road for him, but now he's got a shot to show that he can play in the National Football League. You look at his senior year numbers too. That's what really surprises me, that he didn't get more college looks. Like, these are big numbers at a Houston high school, right? 1,300 yards, 15 touchdowns. He had 500 receiving yards as well. You know, when he went to Howard, he was never really an every down back. He kind of did a little bit of everything for them, both in the pass game, rush game, and as a return specialist. But I am surprised he didn't get more looks. Again, I get there's a lot of competition in Dallas, Houston, these big cities, you know, California and Florida high schools. I'm not saying it's easy to stand out, but you put up numbers like that in a notable city in the state of Texas, it's a little surprising that Division I schools weren't calling him, but they weren't. Took advantage of the opportunity he got at Howard, and now once you get to the NFL, it doesn't matter how you get there. It matters what you do once you do get there, and I'd say so far he's done pretty well. Again, when you look at his collegiate numbers at Howard, just to kind of discuss his journey here, these were over the course of 5 years, so it's not like he had a dominant college career by any means, but he did a little bit of everything. Caught the ball, ran the ball, return specialist and kickoff game with 3 return touchdowns. So he brings an interesting skill set. And coming up next, we'll kind of go beyond how he got here to, can he stay here, right? Like, can he make the Bears 53-man roster, which, you know, won't be an easy task, but I think so far he's at least shown that he's got a shot. He certainly belongs on this stage. Show Ian Wheeler some love. If you like what you've seen out of this kid so far, if you like the vibes around him, hit that like button. Seems like a likable dude. I like what I saw on Hard Knocks last night as well. So shout out to Ian Wheeler, and we're going to talk about his roster chances circumstances in a moment. Okay, before we do that, though, we got to show love to our sponsor as well, just like to Ian Wheeler. That is Rocket Money, a personal finance app that will find and cancel any subscriptions that you no longer want. That's one of the many perks of this app. Most Americans think they spend 60, 70, 80 bucks per month on subscriptions. The reality is you're probably spending closer to $300. Don't believe me? Sign up at rocketmoney.com/bears now. Sync up your bank account, and they will show you all of your subscriptions on one screen, and you're going to be wowed, I think, that you're spending as much as you are on a monthly, annual basis, and they'll help you scale back. If you see, hey, I don't want this streaming service anymore, I don't want this delivery service anymore, Rocket Money will help you get rid of those. Just click cancel. You may have to follow 1 or 2 steps, but they'll take care of the rest. That way you don't have to deal with back and forth customer service with whatever subscription company you are subscribed to. They will kind of play middleman for you. So that's very nice. You can set budgets with Rocket Money. They'll send you monthly reminders to keep you on track straight to your phone, which is awesome. You can even negotiate to lower some of your bills by up to 20%. So what are you waiting for? You want to save money? You want to monitor your finances more closely? Do it with Rocket Money. I've got a wife. I've got a kid. We've got a mortgage. We got a lot of expenses. We got to really pick and choose what we're spending money on, and Rocket Money has helped us save tons of money. And if you use the full potential of this app, you'll save over $700 per year. RocketMoney.com/bears now. Link is in the comments and description. Click and download the app today. Okay, you look at Ian Wheeler's kind of chance here to move up the depth chart, and obviously it's not going to be easy, right? Like, your top 3 are guys, unless Khalil Herbert gets traded, which could happen, are guys that we know are NFL rosterable running backs. DeAndre Swift, Khalil Herbert, Roschon Johnson. Herbert's shown us a lot in 3 years. DeAndre Swift is a starter in this league. Roschon was a 4th-round pick last year. He did some good things as a rookie. He's not going anywhere. I think Travis Homer is replaceable. Velus Jones is in the mix at running back too. So it's crowded. It's certainly a crowded room. And, it's always a numbers game, right? Like, every team is different. Some teams are heavier at one spot, lighter at a different spot. Like, that's why Keith Randolph Jr., just quick side note, the UDFA defensive tackle, I was optimistic about his roster chances when they picked him up after the draft. So I was like, this team only has 3 defensive tackles that are even somewhat noteworthy, and he doesn't seem to have taken that much advantage. We haven't heard much about him, whereas Wheeler has taken advantage of his opportunities, but it's in a more crowded position group. So it's not going to be easy, but I think he's caught the Bears' attention at this point in time. So what I like about Ian Wheeler, what we've seen so far, I like the way he plays with power and good pad level. Like, he kind of sets the tone as a runner. You can kind of see in this photo right here, just as an example, he on his first touchdown here, first contact was at the 4-yard line, drives forward, kind of spins off, falls forward into the end zone. Like, he's constantly falling forward and finishing these runs, which shows you 2 things. 1, he's not afraid of contact, and 2, he plays with good pad level. You can feel his physicality as a runner. Like, we saw that even in limited carries against Buffalo late in that game. Number 2, he's got the speed to go with that power. Like, he's not just a bruiser that, can't play on the perimeter. Like we saw in his second touchdown. I think it was a toss play to the left. He beat the defender to the pylon there. And, oh, by the way, finished with that shoulder through contact on number 45 as well. But he's able to get through the edge. He's a decisive runner, too. Like, he sees the hole well. Like, you could tell it's a natural position for him. Whereas, while Velus Jones showed some good things, you can tell he's still learning, right? Like, he even admitted that on Hard Knocks. I've only been doing this a few days. Like, I gotta get more reps here. Ian Wheeler has played this position. He looks like a natural running back, and he's got the physical tools to be a player that has a chance to stick around in this league. Number 3, we kind of mentioned it earlier, but he has experience as a kick returner. And not just experience, but success. Had 3 kickoff return touchdowns in college. So let's say it does come down to Ian Wheeler and Velus Jones. I kind of talked about this on our HBO wrap-up show last night that I put out. Velus may have a higher ceiling. He may have more physical traits, but it's not like Wheeler, which we've just mentioned, isn't fast. It's not like he's not physical. if you had to cut Velus Jones because you like Ian Wheeler more, he could be your kickoff returner if you want to go that route. And I think teams want physicality with the returner, not just speed. And he's got a little bit of both, just like Velus does. So he could handle that duty, in my opinion, if he needed to. Number 4, his size translates. This isn't some he didn't get recruited because he's a 5'7" running back and 180 pounds. And this isn't a Deuce Vaughn situation where he was electric at Kansas State in college, but you wonder how much you can play him in the NFL because he's so small. He's 5'11", 205 pounds. Like that is an NFL-built running back. And, you watch him play and you're like, yeah, he doesn't stand out for being small. Like, sometimes you watch guys in the NFL and you're like, oh boy, he looks small. Like Bryce Young at quarterback last year for the Panthers. He looked really small. Ian Wheeler does not look small for a running back. Not only does he not look small, I'd say he looks bigger than a lot of running backs, and he's built like that. He's chiseled, so he's a guy that is built like someone who could be a 3-down back. Now, obviously, that wouldn't be the case here with this running back room right now, but he's got the prototypical body to be an NFL back and, again, also be a kickoff return specialist with these new kickoff rules. And quite frankly, the last one, what I like, he's cheap. And don't take my word for it. NFL general managers and teams love undrafted free agents that hit. You want to know why? Because they don't cost anything. They don't impact your salary cap at all. And you have full control over them for 3 years. They are on vet minimum deals for dirt cheap for 3 years. And typically after 3 years too, you still can have them for very cheap for at least another year. So again, if all things are equal, and I'm not saying they are. They obviously invested more into Velus Jones. Travis Homer's obviously been in this league a while. Like, maybe they trust him more. But if it's equal, if they trust him just as much, he's cheaper. That's just the bottom line. And he's got 3 years of this contract. Like, you have him for no money for 3 years of full team control. So, I think the Bears like what they've seen so far. I certainly have. And now I'm excited to see where it goes from here. I want you guys to chime in. Do you think Ian Wheeler will make the Bears 53-man roster? Type Y for yes, type in for no. I'd say at this point in time, he's probably still on the outside looking in, but I think that can change, and I think it started to. I think he's gone from he's probably just a practice squad player that we'll keep around for now to, okay, if he keeps showing us stuff, like, we may have to keep this guy around. And kind of next steps for me, what I want to see is I want to see him get some snaps earlier in these next 2 preseason games. See him go up against some stiffer competition. I'm not saying playing with the starters, but playing with the 2 some. Like, get him in there in the second quarter and see if he can hold his own against guys who are going to be playing on Sundays. Because in reality, the guys he was going up against probably won't be, but he's been practicing well. At the end of the day, these are still players on a preseason roster that he was running through on Saturday. Let's see if he can do it against stiffer competition. And if he can, it's going to make that decision tougher for Ryan Poles as he puts together this 53. All right, there you have it. Thanks to everybody for tuning in to Chicago Bears Now. We will continue to bring you content on a daily basis. My name is Harrison Graham. Subscribe. Let's top last August, and we'll see you soon.